Well, good early afternoon, guys. This is day 2 of the Pantry Challenge and the Canuary. Today's going to be like the last day that I do like days in a row. Now, after this, I will film 3 times a week and I will release a video twice a week, maybe 3. You may get a bonus third. But today's day in the kitchen is I'm going to make buttermilk biscuits from scratch, and I will let you screenshot that. And I'm going to turn those buttermilk biscuits into biscuits and gravy. I already made my gravy a couple weeks ago and I threw it in the freezer, but down below I can leave you the recipe on how to make the dry mix of the gravy mix and then how to make it into a gravy. One of the requirements is you have to have lard. If you don't have lard, it's not going to taste like the gravy that I absolutely love. You can put sausage in it instead, but still the fat from the lard, even if you add sausage, the fat from the lard actually really makes it very, very rich. So using a liquid oil or Crisco, anything like that, it'll taste okay. I'm just gonna tell you, it'll taste just okay. So this is my pantry challenge for today, and my Canuary is I have some homegrown from a local person plums, and I do believe this is my last gallon bag of plums. So I'm going to turn part of that into a plum sauce. I have some somewhere on my shelf, but I came across a recipe that intrigued me because I love drinking juices and lemonade and all that kind of stuff. And so I came across a recipe for plum lemonade, and I'm going to give it a try. So let's get into this and start our day 2. Okay, to start off, you need 18 tablespoons of melted butter. I did 16, basically 8 ounces. Plus you're going to need 2 cups of very cold buttermilk. Now this is actual real buttermilk from making butter, so I can short my actual butter because I have butter in here. And these jars have been frozen, so they separate a little bit, but there's little butter bits in there, so it'll make up for what I'm short on. So I just need 2 cups. This can go back into the freezer for another day. So go in the sink. Then we're going to pour the warm butter into the cold buttermilk. Grab a little whisk, and we're going to stir until small clumps form. This is my favorite recipe. I love to do this. I want to show you how the clumps are starting to form. See? It's clumpy, and it was smooth. But you want the small clumps. Now we're going to set this aside. Grab a bowl. And we are going to put in 4 cups of all-purpose flour. This is a 1/2 cup measure. 1 cup. 2 cup. 3 cup. And 4. Want 2 tablespoons of sugar. I have a little cup in here, so I'm just going to guesstimate 2 tablespoons. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I measure salt with my heart. Okay, now we're going to mix all this together. So it's all well combined. Okay, now that it's all combined, I'm going to add the buttermilk mixture into the bowl, and then I stir until I get a shaggy dough. You don't need a mixer to do this. You don't want to over mix your flour because you will develop more gluten. So the less you do it and the gentler you are, the much flakier your biscuits will be. Now, I have seen people cut in ice cold butter and then just drizzle in water. I don't have that patience. I like this. I don't have to be gentle other than mixing for the flour. All right, so now it is now a dough. Yes, you can still see flour in it, and that's just fine. So now I'm going to grab my cutting board. I'm going to turn this out. We're going to put a little flour on the cutting board, and then we're going to pat this out into a nice thickness that we want to cut the biscuits as. All right, got the cutting board. Gonna roll the dough out. It might still be a little crumbly, but that is just fine. Clean up a little bit here so I can press this out. Get myself another glove. Yes, it's just for my family, but I don't like to touch stuff like this. I have an issue with touching things like this. All right, so now we're going to press this. I didn't put any flour on my board, but that's okay. Now, because I don't want to have to remake edges, because I cut a circular biscuit, I'm actually going to cut square biscuits with a knife. So I'm making a rectangle and making this the thickness that I want. When you use real buttermilk, boy, you sure can smell it. I can smell this buttermilk. So good. Go get me a pan and prep it. Got me a couple of pizza pans. some avocado oil on there. Is this one empty? Spread this out. Now, once you make these, you can actually put some butter on top. I don't do that. I just cut them and let them go. So half. And just like that, my biscuits are cut. And then I'm going to set these on the baking tray. No, they're not all exactly the same size, but that's just fine. First one is laid out. How quick can you make biscuits? That's how fast it can be. If you want the round ones, yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer, but they eat just the same. They don't taste any different whatever shape they are. They taste exactly the same. All right, so now I'm going to bake these at 450 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes or until they are golden brown. So while these are baking, we'll move on to our Canuary. Time to clean this all up. My biscuits are in the oven. Let's get this all cleaned up and then we'll start on the plums. All right, so the recipe for the plum barbecue sauce, you can screenshot that right there. So we're going to need 2 cups of diced plums. I'm going to put some gloves on. Not because I need to keep sanitary, I just don't want to touch them. All right, these are like untreated from a small farm. So I'm going to dice these up and I'm going to try to take the skin off because I really don't want the skin in the barbecue sauce. But the skins will go in the lemonade too because there's always some juice in there. So I'm going to cut these all up and pull the skins off. Now, I could have done this before I froze them, but I didn't. And it isn't going to hurt anything at all. Because when we use the immersion blender, it'll actually puree really nicely. But I have tried to puree the skins, and they don't come out, so I just peel them off. If you get store-bought plums, you might be able to get away with the skins. I can't. I just can't get past the texture, and I can't make it smooth enough for myself, though. Got my 2 cups of peeled and sliced plums. Here is my pot. Get rid of the cutting board. We don't need it anymore. Now I would say probably do this with fresh plums rather than frozen. That took me a bit. That took me about 15 minutes to peel all those. So I'm going to put these plums into my pot. And in this pot, I'm going to add 1 small onion, and I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use onion powder and minced onion. I don't feel like getting into my onions and crying today. So 1 small onion. I love the flavor of onions, so 2 teaspoons. And 2 teaspoons of minced onions. One and a half cups of brown sugar. I don't keep made up brown sugar in my house. For me, it is not worth it. So I just keep regular sugar and molasses. So I will put in, and it takes 1 cup of regular sugar. So let me put in 1 cup of regular sugar. There's the 1 cup of regular sugar. 1 and a half cups of brown sugar. I think I'm going to go a little light. And a big heaping scoop of molasses. Might put another one in there. Take my spatula and get all that molasses off of there. Add some dry mustard. I need to find that. Dry mustard, 1 tablespoon. Got a teaspoon out, so I'll just put 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 tablespoon of ground ginger. Ground ginger, 1 tablespoon. 1, 2, 3. 1 tablespoon of salt. Salt. 1, 2. I'm going to go a little light on the salt. Two teaspoons of garlic powder. So, garlic powder. 1, 2. 2 teaspoons of red pepper. Red pepper. I'm going to do 1. I'm not much for spice. So 1. And 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Cinnamon. And 3/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. If you're using store-bought, it's 1 cup. For me, because my apple cider vinegar is really strong, I do 3/4 of a cup. So 3 of these. We even have a mother on here. You've never made your own apple cider vinegar? Apple scrap vinegar, same thing. Man, once you make it on your own, you'll never buy it from the store ever again. Stuff is amazing. Okay, now we stir it all up. And then we're going to cook this on the stove until everything is married. Then we're going to take our immersion blender and we're going to blend this nice and smooth. Turn it on, probably medium high, and just let it be. If it starts to boil, go ahead and stir it up a little bit. It should thicken up really nice, especially once we use the immersion blender. So now on to the plum lemonade. the plum lemonade recipe. Literally, that's it. 4 cups of plum juice, 2 cups of lemon juice, and 4 cups of sugar. That's it. Now, if you get plum juice as plum juice, or you get whole plums, cook it down to juice, however you want to do it. I'm gonna take the skins from that 2 cups that I peeled. Waste nothing. Waste nothing, especially in a challenge, right? Don't have a whole lot of plums left, probably a quarter of a bag, but the entire thing is going to go in here along with the juice that trickled out of the bag. And then the juice. Again, waste nothing, right? Okey-doke. Always clean as you go, guys. Always clean as you go. And then when you're finished, you're finished. You don't have to clean up. Okay, so now we have, it's probably a third full. We're going to fill it all the way to the handles with water. Actually, I need to add my 2 cups of lemon juice too. So let's grab 2 cups of lemon juice. I'm just using canned, bottled. All right. Pour that in. Fill the rest up with water. Let's put it on the stove. Turn it on high and just let it be. Gotta see, this is almost starting to do something. Let me show you. Almost. I do believe the biscuits are done. Let's go check those out. Look at those. They look wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Yep, they are all done. So let's turn these into biscuits and gravy for future meals for us. All right, so I have the biscuits. We have some ham left over from a holiday dinner that we had this last New Year's. And then my containers, and of course, already homemade gravy. My husband made a request that his has sausage, so I'm going to make sausage. But I'm going to make mine with ham. So I'm going to use divided trays for me. Put my trays out. Put a little piece of ham in each one. And now I have breakfasts that I can grab out of my freezer super fast and not run to the store or something to get. Let me throw a couple of these biscuits in here to make me some room. I Yeah, I'll cut them. I'm gonna cut them. All right. Since it's mine, my fingers, I will handle them. I think I'll do 5. So one has to be in a non-divided tray. That should use up most of my ham. I think I just divide the rest of it into these trays. Why waste it, right? All right. Wash my hands real quick. And now we will cut the biscuits. Take a knife. Cut the biscuits in half. Let me show you. Homemade biscuits. So good. Oh my goodness. All right. One of them's cut. Cut the rest. And that is really so easy to make your own fast food. Why go to fast food places? Why? You know, I mean, I could probably get this out of my freezer, put it in my fridge to thaw overnight, and in the morning, warm it up, and I have fast food faster than you can get at any fast food place. Because you'd have to drive there, stand in line, wait in line, order it, and drive all the way back home. And by then I will have already ate, did my dishes, and sitting down and relaxing. And you saw how fast it was to make these biscuits. There really is no excuse. None at all. Gravy is fast too. I will have that on another video on how to make this gravy. So good. It's like the best gravy. I don't think I've ever tasted gravy as good as this. Okay, I'll do my hubbies up, then we'll check on the canning items. All right, nice and roll and boil. Let's take our immersion blender, make it smooth. Okay, all blended up. Turn it down a little bit because now it's gonna pop. So I'm turning it down to like low. This is basically done. I just gotta taste it. All right, let's give it a taste. It's really, really hot. Ooh, it's got some heat. Wow. And I only put half the amount of pepper in it. I think I want to take that heat down a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of honey. Wow. I'm going to add a little bit of honey. Okay, I added some honey to it. Let's give it a try. Oh, it's much better. I can still feel the heat, but it's not like burning my tongue. If you like burning tongue, don't add any extra honey. You just need that 1 tablespoon. Was it tablespoon or teaspoon? 1 teaspoon of the red pepper flake. If you want it screaming hot, put the 2 that the recipe calls for. I don't think I could ever do 2. All right, so this is ready to can up and ready to go into the canner. The juice is just now starting to come to a boil. So got a little bit more time on that. We've been at it for, it is 3:21. Been at it for about 3 hours. It's not too bad. The breakfasts are finished, and all we're left to do is these 2 items to can, and we'll be done. All right, so we ended up with 6 ham and 6 sausage. That is a week's worth of breakfasts for us. But again, I'm gonna make other ones. We're gonna do another breakfast item later this week. Actually, it'll be next week. And over the weekend, I'm going to make pancakes. And I don't think you guys need me to record that. You all know how to make pancakes, so I'm not going to do it. All right. So now we're just going to be sitting down, relaxing, waiting for the stuff that needs to go into the canner to be ready. So we ended up with a total of 4 half pints. 1 already went to its new home, and 1 1/4 pint. Not bad. This stuff is phenomenal. Now, if you don't like a lot of heat, the amount of crushed red pepper was originally 2 teaspoons? 2 teaspoons. Right there. I put 1. If you don't like a lot of heat, put a half. Or none. Alright. Lids on. Rings on. This could all go into 1 canning session. It looks so good. Alright. I already have water in here. Need to add a little bit more. Put our jars in. Plug it in. All right, let me bring you up close to it. Now, because this has a lot of sugar and apple cider vinegar and fruit, this can be water bathed. So I'm going to start with water bath. I'm going to do it for 20 and hit start. When and leave the vent open. Show you the vent. That is the vent. And when it starts steaming is when we're going to hit the timer. Here is the plum lemonade. I took some time off, turned everything off when we went out for a little bit to our friend's house. So now I'm reheating this back up. I should give it a taste. It's not screaming hot, so I'll get down here. It needs sugar because I didn't put any yet. But that is some tart lemonade. Yeah, I want to let that steep a little bit more. So we'll be back when this has been cooking for probably another half an hour, 45 minutes. We are now ready to strain this lemonade. So I have a fine sieve. I'm going to save the pulp, possibly make some more of the barbecue sauce from it, and we'll see. Just want the juice, so I really don't want to squeeze. the fruit so that I don't end up with like a nectar. It's not clear and pretty. Drain off as much of that liquid as I possibly can without squishing them. And I'm going to keep doing this until I have this whole pot in this bowl. Alright, separated. Nice, pretty lemonade. Now I got to sweeten it, put a little bit of sugar into it. And again, I don't have the amount, well, it says 4 cups, but I think that is more than 4 cups of juice. So I am going to sweeten and then taste it. Start with, that's a 1/4 cup, so half a cup. And again, you can always sweeten it more after you open it and add your water. So there's plenty of lemon juice in there, plenty of fruit. Here's my spoon. A little bit more. That tartness is still hitting me in the back. If I put 4 cups of sugar in this, I think it'd be way too sweet for me. Because I'm lucky, I think that's not even a full cup of sugar. Oh, that's close. This is my debate. Do I make it sweeter or do I not? I think I'll make it sweeter. Alright, that's all the sugar I'm going to put in there regardless of whether it's sweet enough or not. Because I can sweeten it once I open it. Yep, that's good. Alright. My canning funnel is in the dishwasher. So I'm going to use a regular funnel. So I ended up with 5 quarts of this plum lemonade. This is plum lemonade concentrate. So you have the option however you want to use it as a concentrate. Do you want to do 1-to-1? Do you want to do 1 of these and 1/4 of these? It's entirely up to you how strong you want those. So let me get these all lidded up, and in 7 minutes I get to put it in that canner. Time to get the barbecue sauce out. I put them right up against each other and they're hard to get out. Absorb the liquid on top. I'm going to pour a little bit of this water out and refill it so that it doesn't shock this. I always check the temperature, like a comparison. They're pretty close. Since I got 5, I'm going to do 3 and 2. Again, this can be water bath because of the amount of sugar that is in this and the fruit. So water bath, 20. And hit start. Then I'm going to listen for the steam. Then I'll hit the start button again and it'll run for 20 minutes. I'll be back when all of this is done and I'll show you what I got. Canning is now all done. So I ended up with 3 half pints and 1/4 pint of this Plum barbecue sauce. Is so good. One of these half pints, there was actually 4, already went to its new home and has been enjoyed. Ended up with 5 quarts of the plum lemonade. I am super excited to try these, like fully try these. And then of course 12 biscuits and gravy, 6 with ham and 6 with sausage. But this did take a little bit longer today, but now we are all done. And of course, make sure that we leave the sink mostly empty. I did have a glass of milk, but the kitchen is clean, ready to go for tomorrow. All right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.